This
My
conference
voice.
will now be recorded.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear, and I hope there is no background noise. So can you please confirm that you can able to
Yes,
hear me?
Aditya, it's clear.
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So before we start anything, so what we will do, we will have a quick round of introduction. It will be a very brief and short, and basically what I need to understand, that is like don't disclose your company name, organization name. That is not necessary, of course. But what is necessary, that is uh, what is the background, like let's say you are from ABAP or you are from SD or FICO, whatever it is. So the current application what you are using, and then like how many years of experience you have. So this is the two major information I need. So the reason I need this information, because I need to understand that what kind of audiences we have. Okay, definitely I'm expecting there will be a mixed audience, functional, architect, technical mix, but still I want to understand, and then accordingly it will be easy for me to drive the thing. Okay, so and then I will definitely pitch after that, and I will introduce myself. But let's start one by one. So I can call out the name, so then we can go by the name based on this list. So I can see Dilip. Dilip, are you there? Can you able to hear me? I'm just following the list. So
Yeah, this is Dilip, sir. I am a FICO consultant. Right now at home, laid off for the COVID, and 2 years of experience.
okay. So thank you for this introduction. So then next is Johnny.
Hi Aditya, this is Jani. I have 4 years experience in ABAP.
Okay,
That's
thank you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So Junaid.
Yeah, hi Aditya.
Hi. Yeah. Please go ahead.
It's Junaid here. I have around 1.5 years of experience in ABAP, and I have good. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm not really sure whether your voice, your audio have some issue.
Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
No, yeah, I can able to hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have around 1.5 years of experience. I am from Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am working in concentric services company, and I have a
No.
ABAP experience for MM module.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Junaid. Yeah.
Earlier, I
So
have gone through your videos. I have one set of your videos. Got it from my friend.
Okay. Thanks for this detail. So yeah, so no need to mention your organization name. That is not necessary. All I need to know,
Okay.
that is which application or which domain you're working and how many years of experience. That is fine. Thanks, Junaid.
Okay.
Yeah. So next is Vinay.
Yeah, hi Aditya. Good evening. My name is Vinay. Actually, I have total 4.8 years experience in SAP MDM. I completely came in functional background. I don't have any technical background. This is what I worked.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks. Yeah. Now Lakshmi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes,
Yeah, hi.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. I have 15 years of SAP experience. I worked in SAP ABAP and SAP BODS and SAP HANA and SAP SLT. And I'm basically data migration consultant. So currently I'm into the S4 HANA data migrations. So in between we are using SAP MDG. So I thought to have some knowledge on this. So I just thought of attending this.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Yeah. Okay. Now next is Jabal.
Hi Aditya, my name is Mani and I'm an ABAP consultant with 5+ of experience.
Thanks, Mani.
Thank you.
Okay. So Manoj, next.
Yeah, I have 3 years of experience as a DBA. Currently, my application is TCS internal application. Now I am planning to learn MDD.
Okay. Thanks, Manoj. Next is Prashad.
Morning, Aditya. This is Prasad here. I have 15 years plus experience in SAP MDM. My background is ABAP, and I'm SDMM consultant at the present client, and I'm pursuing this course to get more grounding on MDG.
Thanks, Prasad. Thanks a lot. Okay. Next is Pratosh Kumar.
Yeah, hi Aditya and everyone. Good evening. This is Pratos. Total experience is 6 years. Started my career with ABAP. Worked in web info as well, and currently in my current organization, last 2 months I'm working as a MDG support project. So I opted for this course to get in deep knowledge about MDG technical kind of, as I'm a technical consultant. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Pratosh. Thanks. Okay. So next, Ram.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, I am having 7 years of experience. So basically into Oracle SQL, PLSQL development. So basically I am looking into shift my experience into master data management side. So I'm joining the session.
Great. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Next, Ramesh.
Hey, hi Aditya. This is Ramesh. So I have more than 10 years of experience in SAP ABAP, and currently working in retail industry. I have more than 4 years of retail industry, and I want to move my career from ABAP into MDG techno-functional. So planning to study MDG. Yeah, that's all, Aditya. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks, Ramesh. Okay. Next, Ravi.
I am a web developer with 3 years of experience, and that's it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. Srinivas.
Yeah, hi Aditya. This is Srinivas. I am an ETL architect, mainly deals with SAP data migrations to S4 HANA and other target systems. My technical area is SAP BODS. I have 20 years of experience.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thanks, Srinivas. Okay, now I can see next is Venu.
Yeah, hi Aditya. Yeah, this is Venu. I have around 16 years of IT experience. Worked on different modules like SAP MM and integration tools like BODS, and 13 years of SAP MDM experience. And worked ETL tools on Informatica, Power Center, and all these things, Aditya. So right now planning to upgrade myself into new technologies.
Okay. Thanks, Venu. Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks. Next, Varma.
Hey Aditya, this is Hemant Verma. So I have no clue about what SAP is all about. So I'm working as a data scientist and I want to shift my career into SAP side. So I was looking into opportunities in the MDG part and analytics. So that's the reason why I've come for the demo part.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so anybody else? I missed out. I can see one more person. I don't know. I can see the name as user. So I don't think so. That is the real name. But
Hi, this is Ashfaq actually.
okay, yeah. Please go ahead.
I have only 6 months experience in SAP HR. Presently, I've been changed to SAP MDG team. So I just wanted to join this training session.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. So I think that is all the complete list which the attendees we have. Okay. Now coming to my introduction. So myself, Aditya. I have around 13 years of experience in particularly MDM and MDG. And earlier I have experience on SAP ABAP. So roundabout total around I can say 15 years of experience I have. Okay, and I started my career with SAP ABAP, and then there was a shift in my career, and then I moved to MDM. And I have worked on MDM around 4 to 5 years or little more, and then I started with MDG. So I can say that I'm one of the very early person or list of people who started MDG as soon as MDG came into the application services. So so with all my experience, whatever I have gained the knowledge, the idea is I will share those knowledge with all of you. Okay. The good part is in this particular audience, like we have a mixed kind of a audience, and if my calculation is right, then on an average, the year of experience which we have in this gathering, that is round about 6 to 7 years. That is on an average. And I'm really happy that there are a lot of people in this gathering who just started their career and they wanted to shift to SAP MDG. And I'm not here to discuss about MDG. That's what I'm saying this, but really this is a very good decision, I must say. And why I'm saying this, end of our discussion today, you will understand that, or rather I will say you will get that answer. Okay. Now coming to the point that those people who are having a good number of experience, like 20 years, 16 years, 15 years, 13 years, this kind of experience, it is also a very good opportunity for them to move to the MDG world, because MDG need them. MDG needs some, experience, functional, or the architect. Yes, if they have a technical understanding, that is always a plus point. Okay. So the person who is having a good experience in the interface, good experience on the data architect level, so if they are moving in MDG, so automatically the chances will be more for them to cherish. Now coming to those people who are completely not aware about SAP world, and they are now trying to enter into the SAP, MDG is one of the really good platform to start with. Yes, they have to start with as a functional consultant, obviously not technical, because they don't have any so-called SAP background, but anything start with functional on MDG, that is always a very good idea, and then from there they will slowly grow. and in future they can also go to the technical side, because I have seen many people, and literally I mean it. I'm just not saying just for a sake of, I just need to say this. No. So I have seen many people, they have no understanding about SAP. They came into MDM and then moved to MDG, and today they are literally working on MDG with a very good feedback. And they're deployed in different countries. They are managing the respective country business or the region business. So they're doing really good. So this is absolutely bogus who says that if I don't have SAP background, if I don't have MDM background, if I don't know ABAP, or if I don't know MM, if I don't know SD, then I cannot go there. This is absolutely bogus. It's all that what kind of interest you are showing, and secondly, what kind of knowledge you have in front of you. Okay. Now, in this particular discussion, rather than saying training or kind of a course, I don't like to use those terms, because I hate myself to call as a so-called trainer. Rather, I will say this is a discussion. Whatever the experience I have from the different project in so many years, I'm going to share my experience with all of you. I'm not demanding that I know everything, okay? But whatever I know, I'm quite sure that is in a very detailed and very accurate, okay? So that in those information I'm going to share with all of you. Now, coming to the point, in this particular discussion, what kind of knowledge you can get? I mean, what kind of area experience you will have? Mainly, as I just mentioned, I started my career as an ABAPer. So I have a technical understanding. Then I moved to MDM. But it was not like that I was leaving ABAP behind. No. So ABAP was with me, and ABAP is with me, and ABAP will be with me. Okay. So along with the technical details, I also have a good understanding on functional area, because I have been so many years in different projects. I worked on functional side, and then right now my role is architect. Okay, so basically bringing the project for the organization, having a complete discussion with customer, making a blueprint, plan the entire implementation, help the team. If necessary, it does not mean I'm right now architect. It does not mean I will not write the ABAP code. Yes, if necessary, I will jump and I will write any kind of code, any kind of configuration I can do. So basically, I have all three areas of understanding: technical, functional, architect. So the same thing I will deliver here. So from this discussion, you will get the understanding about MDG functional, MDG technical, and as well as MDG architect. And then you have to extract the thing according to your needs. So let's say, for an example, who is having more than 10 years of experience, they will probably extract the functional details more, or the architect details more, with technical details. Obviously, technical details is necessary as well, but they will majorly focus on functional and architect area. Similarly, those who are coming from non-SAP background, they will probably go for functional. And those who are coming from hardcore technical area, because I have at this moment in this gathering, we have so many people who are coming from hardcore ABAP background. So it's an opportunity for them to, not only, cherish your ABAP skill with MDG and also understand the functional area and also the architectural side as well. So it's a win-win situation for all of you. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I have a set of slides, I'm sure, which will not make you bored and which will not feel you sleepy, but rather I will try to make this interesting and interactive as well. And with this slide, I will try to explain about MDG and what we have in MDG, and particularly in our discussion what we are going to talk about. But one thing I can assure you that you can start with any job profile. You go to Naukri, you go to any other job profile portal, open the job portal job description for SAP MDG, and you can match today whatever we are going to discuss. Whether anything is really outside of this, and please let me know if you found anything which is not spoken here today. Okay. So today we are here to discuss about SAP Master Data Governance. Now the question is, why industry is looking for SAP MDG? That is the big question. Why not MDM? Why not other application? The reason is, if I give a very common example, this example I usually give in every session, and everybody I used to give this example when I really need to tell them in a very simple way what is SAP MDG and why industry need this. If I talk about 10-20 years back, how was the industry? Hello? Hello? I hope that is not any question. Okay, fine. So how was the industry that time? That time, having the data was a big challenge. Any sector you take, whether it is a banking sector, whether it is a manufacturing sector, whether it is a retail sector, any sector you can take, having the data was the big challenge. But now what happened? After 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, the thing has been changed drastically. Now we have a lot of data. Now the biggest challenge is how we need to manage those data. And from that data, how we can gain the business. That is what we need, a kind of a framework which can provide the data management and the data governance. MDG is not just a data governance. It is also managing the data and governing the data. Both it is doing at the same time. So now the question is, like, master data management and master data governance. What is that? Master data management and master data governance. What is the difference between that? As I was telling that now we have a lot of data. Now it is a necessary or necessity for us to define the data in such a way that it will be gain for the business. It will be managed easily, it will be governed easily, and from there the business will gain something. So now, to see this, SAP started the first module to managing and governing the data. That was nothing but the MDM, Master Data Management. Now in MDM, what kind of tool we had? We had something called consolidation, data manager, import manager, syndicator, etc., etc. And by using those tools, what kind of activity we were basically doing? We are basically maintaining the master data. We are creating some master data. We are updating some master data. We are replicating some master data to the certain target system. So those things we are basically doing with MDM. But what happened? Once this MDM came into the picture, there were around 1,000 customers across the globe. They use this MDM. I'm talking about SAP MDM, because MDM, when we see, we have IBM MDM, we have Oracle MDM, we have Informatica MDM. I'm not talking about that. More or less, they are same kind of a MDM data management and governance tool. But once this SAP MDM came into the picture, there are around thousands registered customers who use this particular product. And what they failed at some point that this tool demands more, means business demands more, and this tool has to be in such a way, it has to be designed, or in such a way it has to be improved, that those demands needs to be fulfilled. And because of that reason, SAP MDG came into the picture. Now, what was the basic difference between MDM and MDG? The basic difference was MDM was on top of C++, where MDG was on top of ABAP. And as you know that ABAP is the one and only programming language of SAP. So it's one of the very interesting and very profitable product. So definitely there is no doubt that SAP will promote the module which is on top of their product rather than C++. So that's what happened, that from this year 2020, slowly MDG wrap up the things from MDM to MDG. Okay. The another difference is in MDM, there are a lot of data validations, data replication procedures, data derivation activities. So such kind of majorly validations, derivations, replications, they are not very mature, or rather workflow, they are not very mature. They're a very old school type of thing, But in MDG, you can create a very complex and advanced data validations, data derivations, workflow, and data replication process. How? By using ABAP and by using this MDG configurations. Because MDG is an advanced module of MDM. It is providing a lot of advanced features which MDM does not have. Similarly, if I talk about the data quality, search and duplicate check, such kind of things, that is also one kind of a advantage which we have in MDG. So there are different type of advantages we have, starting from validations, workflow, replications, so many things on the display on UI. So basically in MDG nowadays, we are using Fiori. We are using UI 5. We have FPM, floor plan manager, which is the base or the basic configuration UI, where in MDM, we have just a simple UI. So there are a lot of advanced items which data governance MDG provides. So that's the reason that MDG became more popular than MDM. And now coming to, like, in this gathering, we have a lot of people who are coming from MDM background. Now I want to ensure those people that why I'm saying that you are on the right track. Because as I mentioned that there are around thousands registered customers. And this is the information which is a true information I'm talking about. It's not just a fancy data I'm talking about. No. it came up with a very reliable resource. So there are thousands registers customers who were working on MDM. They have no other choice to move to MDG. So that is one benefit. And secondly, those who having the understanding on MDM, moving MDG is the right track for them, because MDM and MDG, they having the same architecture. But yes, process is different. I'm agree on that part. Process wise, MDM and MDG are completely different, but from architectural point of view, they are absolutely same product. Okay, so that's what it is always beneficial. So that's the little brief on MDM and MDG. I'm not going into so many details at this moment. Otherwise, the things will be little complicated. When the time will come, we will definitely talk about in detail. So basically, as far as the enterprise master data is concerned, so we have material, we have supplier, we have customers, and we have employees, we have financial data. So these are all different areas we have in order to develop. Okay. Yeah, I would like to request everyone, please mute yourself. And one more request, that is, you may have some question in your mind, but I would like to request you, whatever the question it comes in your mind, immediately write down on a paper. If you have pen, pencil, or a piece of paper in front of you, please write it down, or open the notepad, write it down there. Because the thing is, we have not very much, there are around 20 slides we have. So the idea is, let me first complete all the slides, because I'm sure the way I will explain, 50 to 60% of your question will automatically answer. Then the rest 30-40% whatever you have, that we will talk about post our discussion. Okay, otherwise what happened, that any kind of interruption will I may forget some information which I was about to share. So now moving to the next slide, that is master data information. Master data is information that is used by many application transactions. So basically the idea is, what are the different type of data we have? We have reference data, we have master data, we have transactional data, and we have reporting data. 4 different type of categories of data we have. Now if I talk about first the reference data, what happened, like what is your company code, what is your purchase order, what is the classification, what is the characteristics, what is the unit of measure. So these are all different reference data. So with this record, I can create the master data. Then the master data is nothing but the customer, vendor, supplier, finance, material, etc. And then you have the transactional data. So the data which generate within the SAP ERP, that is nothing but the transactional data. And the reporting data. Reporting data means the BOBW, the BOBW reporting. They extract the data from a certain table like MARA table or LFA1 table or KNA1 table, whatever it is. And from there, they provide the reporting details. So these are all different type of data. Now why those data needs to be understood? Because MDG deal with all 4, or at least indirectly deal with. Like for an example, reporting data. You may thinking that why MDG require reporting data. Yes, there are certain area where you can develop in MDG, within MDG itself, some reporting data, reporting details as well. But let's say for an example that MDG whatever the data it is creating or updating or whatever it is doing. From that, BW, BO or BI is taking the data and then reflecting that data into a certain monthly report. So that is something which is nothing but the reporting data which is indirectly or rather than directly associated with MDG. Similarly, transactional data. There are some transactional data also we deal with in MDG. Obviously, master data is also there, customer, vendor, material, finance, and then reference data. Because without reference data, you cannot create master data. Those are necessary. Because without material type, unit of measure, industry sector, you cannot create material. Without company code, purchase order, you cannot create ERP vendor. So that's what it is necessary. Now coming to the MDG capabilities, what kind of capabilities it has? So as I was telling, like MDG is like a one compact plan where you have advanced data modeling, advanced UI modeling, advanced processes, advanced workflow, advanced data validations and derivations, replications, and lot many things. So basically, whatever SAP is providing, that is having around 3-4 pillars. And what are those pillars? One is the data reusability. You can reuse the data. Let's say you create one vendor and the same vendor you are trying to update. You need not to delete that and you need not to create again. So whatever the existing record you have, that you can update. Similarly, the replication, robust replication process. So you can replicate your data through ALI-doc or SOA manager to the target system, and it does not mean that always it has to be SAP target. It may be non-SAP target as well. You may have a PI in between. So there are a lot of possibilities are there. The next is the data quality, the governance process, as I was telling, the workflow, the data quality we maintain here, search and duplicate check, data collaboration, consolidations, merging, such kind of activities, and obviously some out-of-box configurations, which is also a kind of a key points for SAP MDG. Okay. Now coming to a very specific agenda. So far, what I was talking about, that is one kind of an overview of MDG. How MDG is, why MDG is necessary, why not MDM, etc., etc. Now the specific agenda is why MDG and what kind of activity we can use in MDG. First is the material master data. So basically, material master records contain the data on a single material, and that follows the information stored in the material master, like the material description, unit of measure, material type, industry sector, classification, characteristics, lot of other things. Okay, so material master is one of the master data which use in SAP MDG. Next is customer master data. Again, customer master data having basically the business partner information, because in MDG, in normal ECC, customer can be standalone customer. But in MDG, it's not like that. In MDG, always customer has to be linked with BP, business partner. So basically, the business partner is the parent, and from business partner, the ERP customer will be one kind of a inherited details, master data details. And what kind of details we will have inside customer? If I talk about the respective BP, we will have all the address details like pin code number, house number, country, transportation zone, language, etc., bank details, then role details, then tax details. Then you have ERP customer, and ERP customer you will have company code, company code, sales org, etc. Okay. Next is supplier or vendor master. So this is another supplier or vendor, both are same. Okay. So ultimately, again, same here, like in vendor, if it is non-SAP MDG system, then vendor can be a standalone vendor. But when it comes to MDG, it will always link with BP. So BP will be the kind of a parent, and then followed by vendor, ERP vendor. So in ERP vendor or ERP supplier, we will have company code, purchase org, and then obviously we have address details, bank details, tax details, etc., etc. Okay. So this is the supplier master. Then finance. Finance is one of the master data in MDG, and in finance basically we have general ledger, GL account, profit center, cost center, profit center group, cost center group, company. So these are all different master data we can maintain. Okay. So here we have, in the out of box delivery, we have finance, we have material, and we have supplier and customer along with business partner. As I was telling you, that it is always with business partners. And then we have also the new model which introduced, that is enterprise asset management. So basically enterprise asset management, why it is necessary? It is necessary because let's say company E is trying to acquiring company B. Then it is not just B's financial information, or it's not just B's material details, or not just its B's customer value or the supplier value. In fact, it's all together. So that's what this EAM model is, kind of a all together. Because one company, when you are acquiring their customers, is also a kind of an asset for you. It's tangible and intangible assets. Then we have retail management as well. Just 1 minute. Okay, now moving to the next slide. Okay. So now, so far, whatever we were talking about, it's a domain details, like material, customer, vendor, finance. These are all domain details. So those who are coming from MM background, SD background, now again, for those people who are coming from SD, MM, FICO. Now, why I was telling that MDG is the right decision for you guys, because you already have those exposure. Now you are applying those exposure with MDG. So it's an added benefit for you. Obviously, you have to drive yourself in the functional area or the architect area. You may not have that amount of understanding on technical side, but you can drive yourself with the functional areas. And one more thing, remember, the way I will explain the things in, like when we will have a real class or the real sessions in the place, the way I will explain the thing, because we will have a huge amount of hands-on. Remember, this is the first time, and I think thereafter there will be very limited occasions where we will go with PPT. PPT is good when we are discussing at the first time. But trust me, until and unless you put your hands into the hot water, you cannot learn the thing. So that's what, when the real class will start, we will have more and more practical over the system, different scenarios, different errors, different solutions. Then only you will able to learn the right thing, and that is what we follow. There will be a lot of people, you can see they just come with PPTs and just explain and just show here and there in the system and go. No, that is not the way we deal with. We will have complete exposure with system, because ultimately you have to deliver your project. You cannot deliver your project with PPT. You need to deliver your project to make the things and then make it run and then deliver, right? So anyway, so far whatever we talked about the basic things, the fundamental things about MDG and the domain sections. Now from here the real technical configuration starts, or functional configuration starts. First is the data model. So if I explain the data model, first of all, data model itself is a huge thing. I cannot explain the data model in one line. But if I explain the data model though in one line, then I can say data model is a place where you define your data which will be necessary in your framework. And with that data, you are going to create a different validations, different derivations, make them part of workflow and the replication process down the line. So ultimately data model is a warehouse. Now in the way we discuss the thing, so basically in data model there are three things which is very important. One is the custom data model, next is the standard data model, and the last one is the enhancement of the standard data model. So what we do, we will have three different demonstrations where we will talk about the custom data model, completely custom. Custom data model means it has nothing to do with supplier, it has nothing to do with customer, it has nothing to do with material or finance. It is absolutely custom data model with a custom data. Second thing is the standard data model. Standard data model means we will talk about material, how we deal with material data model, data model, or customer supplier, that means BP data model, or finance data model. And then we will talk about the enhancement, particularly the standard in real-time project. The third item is the one which you are going to deal with most. That is, you have material data model in your place, and that you need to expand or extend them with the various entity types or attributes based on your business necessity requirements. So that we are going to do with hands-on, everything hands-on here. Next is, along with this, in this particular chapter we will also cover the customer vendor integration Genil model for business partner, which is one of the very important topic for business partner. Okay, I'm just giving a brief. I'm not going into that details, otherwise the things will be a bit confusing for you guys. So this is about the data model. Now coming to the process model. So basically what we do in this, in process model, basically we define the processes. Like in MDG, we want to create the master data, we want to change the master data, we want to make the master data mark for deletion, we want to make the master data block unblock. So these are all things, nothing but the processes, and those processes we define in this process model. So again, in this chapter we have three different way to define. That is custom process model, standard process model, and enhancement of standard process model. Okay, so again, different demonstration where I will talk about the custom process model, standard process model, and then enhancement of standard process model. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to talk about business activity. We are going to talk about change request type, change request, why change request is necessary for MDG, how to proceed them, lot of other things. Now coming to the UI model. So UI is like, if I talk about so far in data model and process model, we just store the data in the data model. We define the processes in the process model, but ultimately how we will see the data, that is through UI. So in UI model, we are going to see the data, and here we have three different cases. Again, custom UI model, standard UI model, and enhancement. So in the custom data model, whatever the data we have and whatever the custom processes we define, how to bring them on UI. That is nothing but the custom UI model. Similarly, for the standard, for material, for customer, for vendor, for FI, those are part of how to bring them on UI. That is standard UI model. And then we will have similarly enhancement. So basically in enhancement, what we are going to do in enhancement, basically how to add the new field or new custom field on UI, how to make them the different field property activities, like how to make one certain field grayed out, how to make one certain field mandatory, how to make one certain field values as a F4 value, how to make one certain field value invisible, and there are many more other things. So this is something which we are going to learn from this chapter. Okay, and these are all things which I was talking about, the field property activities, like to make certain field mandatory, grayed out, read only, etc., etc. So those things are very repetitive in projects. In almost every project, those who are already working in a project in this gathering, they can see in their project also they have such kind of requirement, because it's a very common requirements. Okay, so these are all things we are going to deal with, and in this chapter also we are going to deal with feeder class. So how to deal with feeder class, how we can enhance the feeder class with some ABAP and object oriented ABAP exposure, that we are going to see, and purely hands-on session. Okay, complete hands-on session with different examples, because again I repeat, I learn MDG from different projects. I never been any training or nobody came to me and teach me. No, I just put my head on wall and then learn the things. So I have a lot of examples. I have a lot of demonstrations which I will share with you. Okay. Next is workflow modeling. Now this is nothing but your backbone chapter in MDG, because everything you are doing in MDG, basically whatever we are creating, whatever we are changing, whatever we are updating, everything has to go through a proper process, and that is to workflow process. So there will be 3-4 people who will approve that. And why it is necessary? Because just think a situation like you are trying to create or update on material data. In normal case, what we do, we go to the transaction like MM01 or MM02 and we directly enter the details and then save it, and that's it. The data will go to the respective Mara table. but nobody is there to validate whether that record is right, wrong, needed, not needed, nothing. So we will have a certain process in the place which will help to understand that whether this record is don't need, right, wrong, etc. And this is only possible when we will have a workflow process in place. So whatever the data I'm creating or I'm changing, that will go to Mr. X, Mr. Y, Mr. Z, who will approve it, and then only it will be part of my business. And whose are those approvers? Basically the managers, senior managers, board of directors, a very high level people who having the high level understanding about the business. Why it is necessary? Because let's say one mobile manufacturing company, I am just working in a plant and I'm just creating, one morning I come and create the request for mobile manufacturing details, but I need to understand whether I need to produce it or not, whether I have enough stock or not. So that's the reason I need to develop such kind of a framework. So basically in workflow modeling, now here is one more thing. In data model, in process model, in UI, we were saying that we have a custom, we have a standard, we have enhancement in place, but in workflow, there is nothing like that. In workflow, it's everything custom, because every project is different, every company is different, and their requirement is different. So you cannot say that, okay, so let's say this is company A and this is company B, and they are belonging to the same services, they are providing the same services. It does not mean that they have the same business structure, right? So that's we are going to learn. And one more important thing, that in this particular chapter, we are going to deal with the rule-based workflow, which is the advanced workflow. In the rule-based workflow, we will develop, create, change, mark for deletion, block unblock, and such kind of processes, process flow. Okay. So derive process related settings from customer requirements, explain the concept of rule-based workflow, implement rule-based workflow settings, run MDG change request with your own workflow process. So everything we are doing in MDG, that is through change request. So change request is look like a form. So that form we are filling, we are submitting, and that is traveling to the different approvals. Okay. So this is the workflow. Next is validations, derivations, checks, and deviations. So basically this is the hardcore technical chapter. So what we are going to deal with this chapter, basically in this chapter, we are going to deal with a different type of data validations, data derivations, data checks. Okay, and how we will do that? By using the ABAP body. Business add-ins. We create the business add-ins, which is part of a different classes, and there we add different methods based on the needs, and under that method we just add our different logics which will satisfy the requirement. Okay, so in this particular chapter, basically two things we are going to talk about: service body and rule body. And again, this chapter, by the way, workflow chapter, again hands-on. We will create one rule-based workflow with a complete detailing, and we will execute end-to-end. Similarly, for service body and rule body. So under the service body, we have email notification, rule context preparation, dynamic agent selection, parallel processing. And under the rule body, we have single entity validation and cross entity derivation. And remember, all these items will have separate demonstration. We will execute and we will see end to end situation scenarios. Okay, so this is the validations and derivations, and obviously, as I mentioned, that we will be using different enhancement of a standard class, and that class will have a methods, and that methods we will enhance with the custom logic. But the way I will explain now, those people who are coming from non-SAP background or functional background, they will must be thinking, okay, this chapter probably I will sleep. No, that is not going to happen, because the way I will explain the thing, the way I will show the demonstration, I'm sure you cannot sleep. Okay, it will be more interesting for all of you, and you will be slowly fall in love with the technical side, and you will be understand that how it is easy, or how it is interesting rather. That easy is not the right term. Yes, there will be a lot of difficulties are there. Who's are from above, they will agree with me, but you know, it's not that much of difficult what we pretend to be. You know, we sometimes feel, okay, technical things, okay, people run away. No, if you really understand the things line by line, that what we are doing, then it will be quite easy for you to understand. And particularly those who are from functional people, the way I will explain the things, what the benefit will be, you know what happens, the reality is, I'm sorry, but this is the reality, that there are lot many times I have seen that the technical person, they literally make fools to the functional people. They say, no, this is not possible, you know, this is having this technicality, this blah blah blah. So what is going to happen when we will have those examples hands on, when you will land with this experience into the project, when such kind of things, because see, these are all things which the way I will talk about, that is that those will be the part of project, because there is nothing outside of project. Everything which I will do, or the way I will do, that is, you will feel our discussion is like one a project. It's like we are developing one project. Okay, so once you come into this such kind of technical area, into the real project, that time you will see that you will have a understanding. It's not something which is going which is technical people are doing, and that is just a magic for you. No, you will be understand line by line what they are doing, why it is necessary, and you will be in a position, if something technical people will say that this is not possible, so you will have in a position to discuss them, debate them, that why it is not possible, this way it is possible, or that way it is possible, try this way, that way. Okay, so automatically you will see your development that time. Okay, so it's not just, okay, they are doing magic. No. Now coming to the search and duplicate check. So this is again one of the important chapter, and this is a part of data quality and checks. So basically we have different type of search: database search, enterprise search, fuzzy search, and HANA based search. Mostly nowadays all the projects are on HANA based search, and HANA based search is mostly effective. And particularly in this chapter, we are going to talk about the different configuration for database search, configuration about enterprise search, and configuration about HANA based search, and the duplicate check. So again, we will have a very important configurations will be part of this chapter. This search and duplicate check, why it is necessary? Because whatever the master data we are creating or updating, that we need to search, we need to see them, and we need to see whether we are going to create any duplicate record. And based on that, we will update the data, we will create the data. So that's what, from that point, this chapter is very significant. Now, data replication and import. So basically in this chapter, we are going to talk about the export master data, import master data, convert master data, and monitor data transfer. So export means data replication. Import means data import. Convert means when you are replicating or importing the data, whether you have any conversion in the place. And monitoring means once you replicate this data, you need to monitor them, whether it is successfully replicate, or when you are importing them, you need to monitor this, whether it is importing successfully. So these are all things we are going to talk about. So basically initial load in the MDG implementation phase, importing data into the new MDG system. So initial load we will talk about. Initial load while operating MDG, importing data from new client system into running MDG system. Then delta loads with a high volume of record from already connected client system. Then export high volume data from MDG to the target system. And then the key capabilities. Export from client system to an MDG system, the master data with key mapping and value mapping. So in this particular chapter, we will also talk about key mapping, value mapping, why it is necessary, whether it is necessary for all the project, in what kind of project it is, or what kind of situation or what kind of landscape you need to use them. Then conversion from IDOC format to SOA services. By the way, in this particular chapter, particularly when we are going to talk about replication, in this chapter we are going to see three things. One, ALE IDOC. Secondly, ALE IDOC with change pointer. Third thing, SOA manager. So three different way to deal the data replication. And then obviously the DRF, data replication framework. Okay. Then import to MDG system, master data, key mapping and value mapping. So this is the whole data replication and import. Then we will have multi-record processing and mass processing. So basically multi-record processing means, let's say you have a list of vendors and that you need to update. What you need to update, let's say list of vendors you have, you need to update their bank details, or let's say you need to update any specific field. Then you have to go with the multi-record processing. Now how to develop them? So end-to-end implementation we will see here. Similarly, mass update. Mass update means you have, let's say 3-4 vendors. For 3-4 vendors for a specific field you want to update, and that update you want to go through a proper approval process. So that is also mass update you have to use. Then also apart from that, we have file download, file upload, and the data consolidation. So data consolidation is one of the very latest topic, which may not necessarily every project use. So basically by using the data consolidation, we will bring the data from the different department. Like we have some data from sales department, marketing department, HR department, R&D department, some other department, and we bring them into one place, merging them, validate them, and prepare a final record. So that is nothing but the data consolidation. And then we will talk about the basic understanding about SAP Fiori and its configuration, how we can improve, because by default MDG provide floor plan manager to deal the UI. But now slowly most of the projects shift to Fiori. So now in this particular discussion, I will also talk about how you can develop the Fiori, how you can configure the Fiori, and you can start managing your master data. Okay, so this is the quick overview. So now if you have any questions, that I will try to answer as per my understanding. Okay.
Yeah, Aditya, Srini here.
Yeah.
One question. Thanks for this nice presentation. I really got clear picture on it. I come from ETL background, and where do I fit in this, technology? Because for me, anything is data, right? I mean, when I do data migrations or data transfers, so it is all, same data for me. There is no business process involved, nothing.
See, you have come from a certain background which is having a very significant in MDG. What are those areas? Basically, if I talk about the initial data load, because in any MDG project, can you please mute yourself? Yeah. So any MDG project, yes, first you develop data model, then you develop process model, then you develop UI, then you develop workflow. Then you have to stop. Why you need to stop? Because you need to load the initial records. Otherwise, you cannot process. So this initial data load, then processing, then the data replication, and the data replication is not just a small thing. It is something which is of implementation time, and it will have more work post implementation, because post implementation, majority of the issue, any project you go through, majority of the issue which comes, that is the replication. Every second day customer will wake up and will say, hey, I did something, but I cannot see that record in the target system. So you basically can control the data transfer area. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is your role in the MDG will be purely functional and architect with the technical exposure. Definitely nobody is going to, from based on your experience, if I am the project manager, I will never ask, definitely you are not fit with the role of, like, I will not ask you to write the ABAP code. Rather, I will ask you to manage the data transfer and replication. So you have a better scope in the functional area, and particularly the replication and transfer area.
Okay.
Okay.
So this replication comes under functional area?
The interesting thing is MDG is a combo package, as I was telling. Every chapter you can say there are some functional aspects, there are some technical aspects. Okay, so I cannot say that okay, replication is a functional chapter. No, because there will be a lot of technical details. Because let's say some material data when I want to replicate, make sure it has to be validate with certain logic and then replicate. So those logic who will write? Those logic will be written by the ABAPer in the outbound or inbound function module. Okay. So, but then rest thing, like managing the data, transferring them, import them, load them through BODS or whatever it is. Okay. So that is something which is your part as a part of functional.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a mixture. Every chapter is a mixture, having functional and then followed by technical details.
Okay. Yeah. One more question, Aditya, before I leave. So what I understood is, when you create the records or anything in MDG, right? Doesn't it automatically replicate to ECC or HANA? Isn't it the case?
Of course, that is the case. Whenever you are creating or updating the data, it will go for a different levels of approvals. Once the all approval done, then the things will be activated. And when the things will be activated, the data will be set in your MDG system and as well as replicate to the target system. So all the automatic process. There is nothing like a manual stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Manually, obviously, manually, if something fail, you need to fix them and you need to reprocess them. So reprocess part will be your sort of a manual task, or probably you can again re-trigger them. Okay. But of course, the regular process is an automated process.
Okay. So automated process is done by SLT or different replication tools?
Basically, if we use SOA manager, then SLT. If we do ALE IDOC, then we have to do from the above side, sorry, from MDG side, there are list of configurations which we have that we need to maintain.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Aditya, it's me Raj here.
Yeah, please.
Yes, actually, you just mentioned the ALE IDOC and your other RFC replication method. Actually, that depends on the data model, isn't it? The certain data models you can only use the ALE IDOC, and for the other models you need to use the RFC connection.
Exactly. So basically, the idea is best practices says, I'm using the word best practice because I'm coming to that. The best practice says from SAP that for finance and supplier, you can use SOA manager. Okay. Finance is OG data model and supplier is BP data model. Okay. But again, customer, which is also part of BP data model, that is recommended through ALE IDOC. And material is something which is also recommended with ALE IDOC. So this is the best practice. Now coming to the point, whether for material we cannot do SOA services, of course we can do. And I do believe that down the line there will be everything through SOA services. Okay, but the best practice says that material which is having always a high volume of record, always go with the ALE IDOC rather than the SOA services. But particularly for finance and supplier, it is suggested to go by the SOA services.
Well, that also depends on the target system. Is it like S4HANA system or like a ACC system or non-S4HANA?
Definitely. If it is S4HANA, then you can go with SOA services, all means including material, supplier, finance, everything you can go with the SOA services. But if your target is normal ECC or ERP system, then obviously you can go with ALE IDOC approach.
You have to use PI as the middleware.
PI as a middleware. Yeah.
All right.
If let's say you want to send this data to the certain data pool. Okay, so that data pool is non-SAP system. So then you have to use the PI. Okay.
Hi, this is Lakshmi.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, please
So
tell
there
me.
there is a real-time scenario where we need to extract data from other databases through BODS, and from BODS the data we need to maintain at MDG, and from there we need to send it to CRM, S4 and ECC systems. Okay, now as per your communication, what I understood is it's always good to use ALE IDOCs, is it? In case of SAP CRM and SAP ECC?
No, madam, it's not like that. Like, it is all based on your requirement. What is requirement you have? First thing. Second thing is like if your target, yeah. So if your target is CRM or SRM, okay. So then if you are dealing with material master data, then obviously my advice you to go with ALE IDOC approach. But if you are dealing with, let's say, supplier, then my advice will be to go with SOA services. You need to configure the SOA manager at MDG level and as well as your CRM level, because CRM also capable with the SOA manager config. So then they will
Okay.
communicate with SOA manager, SOA services data.
What about HCM then?
HCM.
Yeah.
HCM, I think IDOC will be the best approach. I'm not 100% sure, but I think IDOC will be the best approach. That you just need to check with probably SAP for the right, because you know things are getting update. Okay, so there are a lot of things which was not possible in near past, but now it is possible. So I would like to always suggest you, in fact we also do, even we have done a lot of projects, but when we face with different systems, today also we always believe that before we gathering the information, if we have any replication sort of things, we always try to clarify with SAP whether this is possible and whether this approach is correct, or let's say for an example, ALI IDOC. If I have a target system normal ERP, I can use ALI IDOC for material. But nowadays, I can also use SOA services. That is also possible. Okay, so these are all certain, things which always better to clarify. But I think HCM, as per my understanding, it should go with ALI IDOC.
Okay. Okay. When we talk about S/4HANA, SAP MDG to S/4HANA, apart from SOA services, is there any other thing where we can use?
No,
Because
not necessary. Not necessary. I don't think so. For replication, directly it is capable enough to replicate the data from MDG to the S/4HANA. Okay. So even though it is on premises and cloud, I'm talking about both. Even though it is on cloud, you don't need cloud interface in between. It's not necessary. You can directly communicate. And on premises means that is also possible.
And another thing is shall I use SLT in anywhere? Because SLT has lots of advantages and like billions of records we can extract and then send it to the other target systems. So
Sorry,
such
your voice was breaking for me. Can you please come again? I could not able to hear you properly.
now
Yeah, please go ahead. I can hear
I'm
you.
talking SAP SLT. In between, shall we use SAP SLT to pull huge number of records, like millions, billions of records?
Yes, SOA manager, when you are using SOA manager, SLT will be the part of it. It is a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of it. Part of configuration, I can say.
And one more question. This question has come from client side. Okay, he wanted to move data from other databases through data services and to MDG, from MDG to other targets, which I told just now, S/4HANA and ECC and CRM systems. Now, whatever the change after moving data into the target systems, sometimes he was saying that some changes may come, okay, after data loads. Okay, then whatever the changes happening at target system, that has to be reflected into the MDG system. Is it possible? I'm not sure about this scenario. Is it feasible or not?
So you mean, okay, let me frame your question again. So you mean
Yes.
your customer is trying to load some data from some source system to MDG, right?
Yes. Yes.
And in order to do that replication, so you said that some of the record when they are sending, once it reach to MDG, that records are changed. Is that the case?
No. The data is extracted from the source system using data services, and from data services, the data has come to the MDG system. And from MDG system, we have sent data to other target systems. SAP CRM is a target, SAP ECC is a target, and S4 is a target. And the data is, moved from, moved means sent to target systems. Now, after sending to the target system, and he was saying, the client saying that some change has occurred at the target system, some customer data has changed, some small change has come, then that change has to be reflected into the MDG system, he's saying. How can we do it? This is what he's questioning.
Normally what happens when you send the data from source system to MDG system, whatever the medium is, doesn't matter whether it is SOA or ALE IDOC, whatever it is. So the data store in MDG system, and it will not automatically move for the MDG to some target. What it is going to happen, someone has to update those information. So user has to update that information. So probably the case is, let's say they have received 100 vendors in MDG from different systems, and those 100 vendors, they have processed that. So whether it is a multi-processing or mass change, whatever they do in a bulk manner or single manner, whatever it is, and while doing that, probably they make slight difference. Like let's say for a first name they give some dot or slash, whatever it is, slight change, and then they process them. And then once they process them, the data once definitely will go for approval within MDG. After the approval, once the data will get activate, those changes will be reflected in MDG, as well as it will move to the from MDG to their respective target system, whether it is CRM or SRM or whatever the system they have. So in CRM, SRM system, whatever the changes you made in MDG, that will be also reflected, because ultimate product is that only right now. Whatever you receive in MDG, that is not the end product. Your end product is what you activate in MDG after this multi-processing or mass change, whatever it is.
Okay. So you mean to say that after processing the data to the target systems, and if I log into the CRM system and do some change, that will reflect in MDG system. Is that right? My understanding?
No, I said from MDG to CRM. Now in CRM system, if you want to make some change, then you need to exclusively again send the replicate the details to the MDG system if you want them. But always remember, the channel is not some CRM or SRM to MDG to update the data in MDG. That is not the right way. The right way is MDG to the other system. Because of that reason, MDG is just your one medium to update the data. So you need certain data, obviously the reference data, in order to create the master data in MDG. But it does not mean that a bulk amount of record you start pulling from CRM or SRM to MDG. You can pull them, but ultimately you have to again process them at MDG end and then update back to CRM and SRM system. That is what the correct process.
Okay. And one more question. When I send data from data services to SAP MDG, see the configuration. The configuration is and BP data has been sent from data services to SAP MDG system. Now I want to check whether the data is perfectly processed or not. No, the question
I'm
is.
sorry to interrupt. Can I ask few questions before you go ahead, and because I need to drop off? Is it okay? Can you hold off on your questions, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Aditya, I have a couple of questions. So can we first of all, what version are you going to train this MDG in?
This
What
is
are,
this is 9.2.
9.2? Oh, awesome. And is it going to be are you going to talk about the installation, about the hub or the sitting on top of the ECC? What are you going to talk about the activation of the business function? Are we going to start from there?
Yes, I'm going to start from there.
Awesome, great. And can you
Thanks.
talk about this handler class? Is it possible to debug the handler class from MDG?
Yes, definitely. We in fact use the handler class for many of the occasions, but particularly if I give one example for search the result list. Okay, we have result list in MDG through the search. So particularly there we use certain handler class. So definitely we have that is also in part of search chapter. So we will have this debugging process there.
So, say I have a scenario where I'm using the handler class to update the custom tables and all, right? So, but I don't see the way to debug that. So, say for example, I have some custom tables defined on the customer master, and then when I'm trying to use the handler class to update those custom tables, I don't see the debugger is stopping there anyway. But do you think is it possible?
Yes, this is possible. I'm not really sure. Can you please send your class details to the coordinator? So probably I can guide you further.
Okay, great. And I also wanted to know if I bring the business scenarios, right? I'm already working on the MDG. I have a background. So, if I bring the business scenarios, so do you think we can discuss that in the class and see the steps there? Is it like something
Yes,
where you would support?
definitely. The idea is like one second. Let me. So this is another document which probably you will receive or you already receive. So now coming to your one of the question in the PPT slide, yes, I'm glad that I was not included that in that sense, but there was a one point out of box configuration, deliver out of box configuration. So in the first chapter, in this agenda will be delivered. So this agenda you can see in the first chapter, we have the out of box configuration for material, customer, vendor, business partner, finance. So this is the point where we were talking about the basic activation, business function activation, BC set activation, webbed in pro services activation, etc. So that is one of your answer of your question. Now coming to the business scenario. So what happened that every project, every chapter when we will go through, I will try to cover as much as business scenarios which we have. That is the first thing. Then what is going to happen? Then every session, once our specific topic is over, we will have a kind of a question answer session, and there probably we will talk about the different business scenarios which everybody is facing in their project. There we will definitely share the details. And also sometimes we also feel that okay, let's do let's reserve one session where we will only talk about the business scenario for a specific, let's say, data model or workflow or replication. That is also we are going to do. And moreover, the last chapter which we have, that is enrichment topic, where we have basically the consolidation, the enterprise asset management, Fiori stuff discussion, all those things. So in this particular chapter we have a different case studies. Okay, so those case studies are basically a part of the business scenarios. Okay, so what you are looking for, that is already part of our agenda.
Okay, okay. So let me just quickly ask you this, maybe something. Say I create a new CR type, right? So to create the new the materials, okay. So we already have the standard one, right? MAT01. So I copied that. I created some ZMAT01, and now I want to have this in the home page. When you go to the NWBC I go to the material governance. I want to add this below our MAT 01, the standard one. And the requirement is, for example, it says that the ZMAT 01 should always be created based on the reference material. So when I go to the LPD cus, right, and give this new CR type on the home page, configure this, it always skips the search home page. I cannot make it like mandatory that, yeah, you have to stop it there. It always goes to the create page and skips the search material page. So is it something we can fix this?
This is what you are saying. This is pretty like we need to sit and we need to look into this. Yes, this is possible. What you said
Okay.
from there, from that point, I can my quick answer will be yes, this is possible.
Uh-huh.
But today in this
No,
discussion, I
I
yeah,
understand. You don't need to give me
yeah,
all the details and
yeah.
all, but is it something, I can bring? This is just an example.
Yes,
So if
yes,
something I
definitely,
bring it on the table, yeah, like, are we open to discuss that and come up with a solution
obviously,
and all? That's what
obviously,
I was
obviously,
looking for. Yeah.
obviously,
Okay.
obviously.
No,
At
thank
least
you so
see,
much. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I understand.
So
Yeah.
I must say one thing, that there will be a different type of business scenarios. Okay, but I would like to request you and everybody, whatever the business scenario we will have, first allow us to explain that. Otherwise, what is going to happen? These are all the example which you mentioned. This is a little tricky one. Okay, so this is not a straightforward. So if I will start with this, then the rest of the people will lost. So I
Yeah.
have to
Mhm.
slowly bring them to that level, and
Agree.
then
Mhm.
that, see, business scenario is we have to discuss. Otherwise, what is going to happen, that people who are not in MDG project, they will be missed out those things. So you are in MDG project, you are facing different requirement. So if you share that, then they will be also benefited from there. So that is also needed. Okay, but day one, if I will do this, they will be completely lost. So I have to bring them into certain level, then I will talk about that. So what the requirement you have, at least I need to cover the data model, process model, and UI model. Then only they will come to know that what is going to do. Because based on the change request type, in your requirement, we need a specific UI to be triggered. Okay, so that's the reason business scenario is necessary to discuss, but we have to give initial few chapters complete, then everybody will be in that level to understand.
Agreed. And one last thing, are you going to talk about the IS integration as well?
Information steward integration,
Correct.
you're talking
Yeah, yeah. Because now with I believe 9.1 and 9.2, you have the capability. You can go
yes,
ahead and create the change request from there.
yes, but it is not a part of our agenda so
Oh,
far,
okay.
I can say.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for all your answers. I really appreciate that. And I'm sorry again, Lakshmi. You can carry forward. Yeah.
Aditya, I have a question as well.
Aditya, I have a
Lakshmi, if you
question as
just
well.
hold on for a second.
Yeah,
Aditya,
please.
how
Please.
useful this training is going to be to get the certification?
Okay, this is one answer I would like to give. Now, if you
Can't hear anything.
sorry, I was talking in mute. So I would like to answer this question. So whatever the chapters we have, and if you see the certification chapters, the agenda and our agenda is almost same. In fact, same. Okay, but in certification, I do not have enough, because I have already mentioned I basically learn MDG from different projects. Okay, but we coordinator also provide the certification documents, and we will guide you, okay, in every aspects. But anything if I comment on this, like if you do this, then you will clear the certification, that I don't want to do that. Okay, first thing, then there are three things. Point number one, we have certain documents about like certification. I think I think like part 1 101 102, part 2 101 102. So those 4 documents which we have, obviously you can collect that from coordinator. Second thing is we have we have those things in place, so you can obviously ask me, I can guide you. And third thing is you can match the chapters of certification and our agenda, they are same. Okay, so any push you need from my side, I'll be happy to give. But if I say do this, then you will clear the certification, no, that's wrong. Okay, is that answer your question?
That's fair enough. Thanks a lot.
Aditya, this is Prasad here.
Yeah,
Hey, I
please.
have questions on the course. Do you think how long is the course schedule, and how does the week look like?
Okay, basically we need 34 hours, 34 to 35 hours. So at this moment, you know, I can able to give weekly once, okay, because I have other commitment. So because of this lockdown period and the things are little, you know, turmoil. So at this moment, I can give only once in a week, and that is to around 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours. Okay, and but in future definitely I will try to give more hours, but at this moment it is difficult to commit. So okay, let the situation change, and I hope then slowly we will also change our plan.
Okay, and other question, Aditya, will we be given the server access for testing and
Of course, otherwise how we will practice.
Right.
So
Right.
you'll be everybody will be provided with the 6 months, I think coordinator can confirm this. So 6 months server access, and the same server I will do the demo.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
what is going to happen? But obviously, I would like to request in every session to everybody that don't touch my demo, but you can create your own. Okay. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Every demo is like today what I'm making in data model, tomorrow I need that details for process model, for UI. So if someone is going to change that or delete that, then next class again I have to deal with the data model. Okay. So you will be definitely provided with the server access with the 6 months access, and then you can obviously practice what we are doing. First, I would like to say what I am doing, just blindly follow that. Then you will be obviously provided in every topic wise documents, where you will have, you know, different screenshots, different scenarios, etc. Try out with that, and then we will have a different business scenarios and everything. So slowly, gradually you can improve.
Okay. And last question, Aditya. Now, is it a standalone MDG implementation or a co-coupled with the
That
ECC?
basically I will talk about both on hub and co-deployment. Both I will talk about. Okay.
Thank you, Aditya. Can you send us the class schedule when you're done with this session?
Yes, I will basically share with these two things. One is PPT, another one is this agenda. Okay, so we have basically introduction chapter, data modeling, because this agenda will give you a very detailed picture. Okay, because in PPT we just incorporate the headlines. I just talked about that, but when you go through this agenda, you will have a very detailed understanding. So process model, UI, search and duplicate check, then workflow modeling, then validations and derivations, then replication and import and enrichment topic.
Perfect, Aditya. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time. I really enjoyed the session. Okay, I have to drop out now. I will join the class later.
No problem. No problem.
All right, Aditya. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Hey, hi Aditya, Ramesh here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, from the Fiori perspective, whether you will be teaching UI5, like JavaScript and all this topics.
No. Yeah, thanks you raised this question. So basically when I talk about this Fiori, yeah, that's what I use this word, basic understanding and configuration about SAP Fiori with MDG. So specific to MDG, whatever the configuration or understanding you need, those part only I will talk about, because I have to honest to you, I'm not a Fiori consultant. Okay, only I know the Fiori which is necessary for MDG. So that much I will provide, the configuration and the basic understanding, which will cover your basically how to create the different processes, like create, change, mark for deletion, those different tiles, how to deal with tiles, how to deal with catalog, all those things, how to deal with templates, particularly for S4 HANA. Those things I will talk about.
Okay, but do I need to learn UI5 as well to become MDG
Not necessary.
techno-function?
No, not necessary.
Okay.
In case you need, you can obviously reach out to some expert within your organization who is deal with Fiori. But it does not mean, see, Fiori is just a part of MDG. For that, you don't need to learn Fiori, because Fiori itself is an ocean. Why unnecessary you waste your time? Just whatever the item you need, just you learn that.
Okay. No, but real time, will it be any scenario like we need to develop a UI5 custom application?
Yes. We need to at least we need to develop we need to prepare the launchpad, the Fiori launchpad with all those processes. That is the main thing, and then to trigger them from there. So those things we need to do. Yeah.
Okay. So with WebDyn Pro,
this is like.
Sorry, I'm not.
Can I proceed?
No, I have a couple of questions. I'll just complete it.
Okay.
So with WebDyn Pro FPM, it's enough,
So
you mean to say, right, to develop UI application?
Basically, WebDyn Pro is the base component. Fiori, Floor Plan Manager, UI5, everything backend is WebDyn Pro. Without WebDyn Pro, you cannot imagine anything. That is the base component. Then top of WebDyn Pro, you have FPM, Floor Plan Manager. Then on top of that, you have Fiori. And then Fiori is with UI5.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you will be teaching WebDyn Pro and FPM, right, with the practical hands-on, right?
It is all part of our discussion. It's not specifically we will teaching, like it will become definitely when we will come to the UI chapter, automatically this WebDyn Pro, FPM, these are all things come, and then Fiori also.
Okay. And final question, what is the version of S4 HANA MDG?
9.2.
9.2.
9.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. See, a few of my colleagues who are belongs to the functionals, no, I suggested them to learn MDG. I don't know where exactly they will fit in this MDG part, because I'm a technical resource. I can understand anything functional and technical stuff, but where exactly that SD consultant will fit here to learn?
See, as I mentioned that SD, FICO, MM, those consultants having the domain knowledge. And if you see that in MDG, a very large section we are dealing with a domain. Okay. And what they need. If they will be part of such kind of MDG discussions, then what they need to learn, that is the MDG side configurations, MDG side approach, how to build those framework. So then already they have domain experience, and secondly they have this MDG exposure. I'm not going to ask them to learn ABAP. No, that is a complete stupidity. Okay, then what they can place themselves, that look, I have domain experience and I have MDG understanding as well, or probably they can say that I have already shadow MDG project. So then slowly they can push them to the MDG functional area.
Okay, thank you.
Functional
And
architect level also they can expose.
Okay, and another thing is all the prerequisites, like the couple of resources already mentioned, right? So the prerequisites and for the execution of the business scenarios, like what I have given, you will be supporting. There is no doubt about it, right? Real-time scenarios.
Yes, so let me clear here regarding the prerequisites. So if you see the introduction chapter, in the introduction chapter, we have like prerequisite to discuss, where we will talk about like before see, I cannot start suddenly, okay, let's come tomorrow we will start data model. No, that is not the way. First we need to understand that how this data model come from where this process model comes, what exactly this process model have, what is this WebDin Pro services, what that services mean. So I will start from ABCD. So those are basically part of the prerequisites. This out of box configuration is part of prerequisite. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is business scenario. Yes, again I'm repeating that business scenario is important to discuss, but look, there will be some time frame which I need to follow. So every business scenario is not possible to go to the system and develop. Definitely whatever the business scenarios we will have, that we are doing. In fact, some cases what we feel that, okay, let's try certain business scenario which come from XYZ person, that also we will do. But every scenario may not be possible to go and hands-on on the system because the time, because I have to accommodate, because you have to understand there are different people whose are basically waiting for this discussion, and they are they just want that let this discussion complete, and then I have a end-to-end understanding. With that understanding, at least I can jump and try for some MDG project to get opportunity. So I have to follow that timeline. So definitely business scenario has to be discussed. You can we will discuss in the meeting. If that time does not permit 100%, sometimes what happen, and 100% this will come, that time is not permitting, then I would like to request everybody, like whatever the business scenario which you have, mail me, mail the coordinator, then coordinator will consolidate those questions to me. Okay, because chasing different mails will take more time. Rather consolidate all the questions in one mail will be easy for me. Then in the following session I will talk about those questions, or if I feel that no, this particular question I need more details, so I need some time, so then that is also I will tell, okay, please give me 1 week time, because I need to also look into this, and then I will come back to you. Okay. So I will make the things very transparent. Very transparent, I will do the things.
Okay, Aditya, and post completion of the session also you will be supporting us.
Yes, definitely. If you need any suggestion, any guidance, I'll be always helpful, available. But one thing also you have to understand, like I have also some other commitments. So if you drop a mail at the end moment, and if you need answer immediately, that may not be possible. So at least I need 1 or 2 days time to answer those mails.
Okay. And one more thing, all the participants who are attending this session will be transparent or coordinator
No,
will be.
you have to always go to the coordinator, and coordinator will provide the necessary details. Like every session, you will be providing the documents. Okay.
Yes.
Coordinator will provide the documents. Coordinator will give the 6 months access. Coordinator will also provide the recordings, because there will be some people who will not be able to attend various reasons, not well, or some having urgent work, so they can at least see the recordings. So those things are already there.
The question here is, Aditya, see, for group discussion kind of thing, see, certain things we cannot understand in the session, certain things we can understand in the group discussion. So to have a group discussions kind of thing, is the coordinator revealing the other participant details to hold?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, fine. And I have two more quick questions. One is, when we send data from data services to MDG, the BP IDOC has come, and is it directly going and sitting into the database, or do we need to do something processing steps here at MDG level?
You mean that the data comes from source to MDG through SOA services?
No. Data services. In data services.
Okay, data services. Okay.
Yeah. So the job has been executed at data services, and the moment the job is executed at data services, we have connections and RFCs, everything is established and in place. And when I execute the job, the job is designed in such a way that extract data from the other.
What kind of data you are basically sending to MDG?
Business partner.
Okay, business partner information. So that will come and directly sit into the table. So that is not going
I don't
to.
have that. See how it sits into the MDG. That is my question.
Okay, so basically you will have once you are sending the data to MDG, and particularly let's say business partner or vendor data, if you are sending, so the moment it will enter into the respective MDG system, we will have inbound function module in MDG. In inbound function module, we'll receive those information and we'll send it to the respective table. Okay. Now there is another aspect, that is, let's say I'm sending some reference data to MDG, and based on that I want the change request to be created. Okay, so let's say I'm sending company code, business partner basic details like address details, bank details, tax details, company code, purchase order, but I'm not sending vendor number because I don't have vendor number, let's say. So what is going to happen? Those information will enter into MDG, and you want through API, okay, application programming interface. Through API in MDG, automatically the change request will feed with those information and will submit for approval. And what is going to happen once the approval will complete, those reference data will be part of the master data, and you will have the vendor number available. And that will sit to the respective vendor table or material table or whatever it is.
This has to be designed in such a way. It's not like a ECC system. The data is going to the MARA table, and then when I go to the data dictionary and open the MERA
so
table,
basically what is going to happen, when you are sending the data from the source system, you can send the data in as usual way, but in MDG level, what we need to do, we need to extend the inbound function module. We need to capture those details with, if it is a part of, let's say, IDOC, then we need to capture those IDOC data, feed them to the change request, and then execute them. Okay, so that piece of logic we need to build in the inbound function module at MDG side. Then only it will work through the APIs.
So, okay, it will not be directly pushed into the tables, correct?
No. If you are using this API, then it will just submit that in a change request format. Then change request, it will go for a necessary approvals. Then after the approvals, it will go for activation, and then it will sit to the respective tables.
Okay, so in that case, it is the same case when we upload file data into the MDG, correct?
Same details, same
Similar
details
case.
will place there. Same, yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there any limitation of the?
Lakshmi Garu, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. So just give me 1 minute of time. So there will be no technical jargons in SAP and anything. So hey Aditya, so you're free now?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So Aditya, I really appreciate your time and giving all the solutions for the people who are asking the questions. So one thing from my end is, so I have no knowledge of SAP. So whatever the process you are talking about, so I am a data scientist with 6 years of experience, mainly working on Python. Okay, so this is so we used to work on the machine learning and all that part. So I just want to get into SAP. So to get the specific kind, so to get that expertise in one particular tool, so I have chosen this particular SAP. So will it be a struggle for me to get into SAP, or would you suggest me it as a good option to get into MDG?
See, particularly for you, if you remember, I was categorically mention one thing, that those people who are coming from non-SAP background, okay, this is also an opportunity for them, because it is not a barrier. Yes, you may not understand some certain things about SAP world, but that doesn't mean that this is a barrier for you. Okay, so this course will this particular discussion will always help you to enrich your understanding or your frame of things. So, but at the same time, what I'm thinking for you, you try to connect with coordinator, and because in this particular discussion, definitely I will use some certain terms like structure, data element, some tables, some domain, etc. These are all things. Okay. What bothers me, that whether that will be difficult for you in early days to catch. Okay, so if you go with my thought says that when you start MDG, parallelly you connect with coordinator and you ask that give a kind of a session for you, okay, because definitely that you will not receive from me, because I have no time for that. So there will be some definitely ABAP expert available with coordinator. They will give you the basic understanding, not ABAP, not coding, but the basic thing, the data dictionary part. Okay, so how the data dictionary work, how they build, and how they use in a different modules or different functions. So that will help parallelly when we are going to discuss in MDG the tables, the domains, the search help, the data element, such kind of things. So if you go parallelly, you have to go parallelly. It's not like, okay, I need to stop this, let me do MDG and then I will do this. No, let's go parallelly. That will be a good option for you. Then you will understand the class. Otherwise, it does not mean that you will not understand. Yes, you will understand, but time, you have to give some time. Okay, so that is my suggestion. Now it's up to you whether you take it or you not.
Sure. That was my actual next question. So do I need to know any other module apart from the MDG like ABAP and HANA? So
Yes, when
you've done
you
that.
just say I need ABAP, but not how to develop the program. No, you don't need that. Only you need the data dictionary part.
Okay.
Yes, obviously,
Cool.
because if you are interested, then you can learn ABAP. I'm not asking you not to learn, okay? But the data dictionary part, if you know, that will help you a lot.
Sure. So that's it from my end, Aditya. I really appreciate
Okay.
your effort and taking time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay. Thank
you so much.
Hi, Aditya. This is Mani. I have only one question before
Okay,
like.
please go.
So during the discussion, you have told this MDG basically the base is like WebDrain Pro and FPM sit on WebDrain Pro and then Fiori. So as an ABAP consultant, I have never worked on WebDrain Pro, but I have worked on Whoops console and that. So do I need to learn WebDrain Pro also, or is it for free?
My straight answer to you: you are a ABAP consultant. Just sit and enjoy the course.
Okay.
Sit and enjoy. You need not to do anything. See, there is no point if my discussion leads you to learn, means if my discussion is not helping you and you need to do some other separate domain to learn, then it's like a waste of time, honestly speaking. So the answer should be like, the way I have to deliver, it has to be it has to be easy, it has to be easy to understand for everybody. So you are a ABAPer, so my only advice to you, just sit and enjoy, nothing.
Okay, Aditya. Thank you very much, and thanks for the wonderful. I will go. Thank you.
Hey Aditya, you said we'll have the system access for 6 months.
Yes, madam.
So we can have the full access to create or to play with the system. You mean
Everything,
create the
madam. You will
CR?
have a developer access.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question anybody has?
Aditya, this is Raj. Sorry, I joined late actually. I have one small question, Aditya. So basically, user is creating a change request, right? And then they feel that okay, they approved it incorrectly. Is there a way that we can do an undo process in MDG?
Sorry, come again.
User has submitted a change request, okay, and they activated and approved it, and then a database is committed, right? And then do we have any undo process where we can get it back?
Once the details will be activated, it will go to the system. I don't think so there will be any undo process, but I need to check. Probably you can mark for delete them, but I need to check this. But
because
if you don't mind, can you please let me know like what is the business need for this?
Oh no, it's an accident. It was an accident where they created an account, right, and incorrectly, okay, and say imagine that the GL account has been created, okay, incorrectly, and then they want to get out of the system. Not just so, because in financial business partner we have a mark for deletion, material we have a mark for deletion, right? But financial they don't want to mark for the deletion. It's they want to just get it back, right? They want to completely get it out. It was an accident in creating the account for a particular company code. Okay, so in MDG, I heard that there is an undo process, but I'm not sure. I'm not an
Okay,
MDG expert, so that's the reason.
let me also check, because this is something which not required in a very usual case. But okay, let me check and answer your question. You can do one thing. You drop a mail to the coordinator with this specific question. Otherwise, I may forget. Okay,
sure,
I will come back to you.
Sure,
I think so. There will be a I think in sometimes I also gone through such kind of thing, but not in recent time. So Yeah, I will check.
Sure, Aditya. And the second question is basically from ECC or S4 system, right? Okay, from MDG, we would like to consume the configuration, right, from S4 system and from ECC system to MDG, right? So do we do we have a BC sets configuration to pull the config, or do we have a manual program or something which runs in MDG to pull the config? So
no, basically we have the list of configuration. There is no program,
okay.
but rather we have a different objects which needs to be activated. But what happens that nowadays when you purchase the license from SAP, the basic business functions, WebDynpro services, BC set, they activate from their end. Okay, so you basically need not to do all those things, but all we need to do, we need to cross check, and there are some probably WebDynpro services which we may require, so that needs to be a part of the activation and also the BC set.
Okay.
So those things normally comes with activated, and then the thing, and similarly business function, for an example, SOA services. If you need SOA services, then certain business function you need to activate, which is generally not activate initially. Okay, so those things we will talk about, but there is no such program that you just click one program and that will activate everything. No, it's not like that.
Yeah, yeah. Normally, in MDG, right, each organization might have a solution manager in place of the centralized system, right, where it grabs the config from the different sources of system, whether it's an ECC or S4, and then move the config to the MDG system. But if we don't have a solution manager, MDG should have a capability of grabbing the config, right, from the other system, because we cannot do config to MDG the same duplicate config manually, right? So there should be a way to extract the configuration from S4, because we are processing master data, right? For example, business partner, right? I might have 10 roles in ECC, I might have 15 roles in S4 system, right? But MDG should have all the 25 roles in MDG to support both the system, right? So I cannot do manual configuration. There should be a way to extract it and then perform the master data update, right?
So basically what we do, we have the client copy. So we have the standard, what do you say, for an example, if I talk about the process template in MDG. So process template, the standard process template SAP provided, so that we can client copy. So what happens respect to BP or MM, whatever the process template we have, processes we have, that will be a client copy there. Okay, but in terms of role, if you talk about, we have in MDG basically SPRO config and the MDG MG config. So we basically use these two rather than Solman. Okay, so what we do basically that we create the different roles based on supplier, material, customer, etc. based on the different requirement, based on the different processes. Okay, so this is how we deal in MDG. Okay, so we have client copy, the standard details we can copy from client 000, and we have the SPRO config, we have the MDG IMG config, where we can create the different configurations, standard configurations, which is necessary for replication, import, in fact, everything. Okay.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah. So any other question?
Hi Aditya, this is Lakshmi. I'm sorry, I was disconnected.
Yeah, please tell me. Tell me.
There is no limitation for the data, right? When we upload and
no,
when we
there is no.
Oh, fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so if there is no further question, so Fine. So as I mentioned that this post this meeting, we will have we will send this PPT and the agenda, whole agenda, and of course, as I mentioned that you can please go ahead and cross check with different job portals the description of the job, and please let us know if you found that anything which is not covered. Okay, and yes, if you have any other questions, you are welcome to mail us, and we will try to respond them. Okay. Okay, so if there is no question, then I will try to conclude this here, and thanks for joining, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks.
Thanks, Aditya. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
This conference will now be recorded.